Hey guys, this is going to be a quick checkup on a Generac 14 kW unit, and then I'll give it an oil change. So I'm splitting this up into two videos. The first one is going to be about how to check this unit for functionality and making sure it's going to start and all is good. So that's what the first video will be about. And then the second video, which I'll include a link to, will be about how to do an oil change and then options for oil filters that I would recommend if you didn't want to go with the Generac oil filter. Alright, first thing when you want to check on these is to turn off the circuit. Then you can open up the key and open up this unit. And it's put it in the center for off, so it's been switched off, and already it's saying to inspect the battery, so we'll end up doing that later here. But first I want to show you how to get this cover off. Once you have this open, you just grab this, pull up and then away, and then it comes off. You see there's little hooks right in here that hook on these little bolts that stand out, and then you have tabs at the bottom that go through those oval slots right there, and that will get this cover off. And then you could just set it aside like that. Next, we're going to do a simple inspection. Whenever you work on engines, always check that there's oil in it, because you don't want to end up running a unit without oil in it. Now, as you can see, this oil is actually clean, and it's a little bit below that full mark. But last time this oil was changed, it's actually halfway. Last time this oil was changed was probably 3 or 4 years ago. So it's not bad. So it has enough to run it because it's over the half mark. Then we want to inspect this air filter. So to do the air filter, you just loosen up these, just kind of wiggle it. It's got a gasket on it, and that's to ensure that no rodents get in here. So it's usually pretty good, but you want to inspect that. You see, that air filter looks nice and clean. So we're good to go there. We're not going to change this one. The owner asked to not change it, but we want to make sure that there's also nothing in here intruding with the automatic choke control. So now after that inspection, we know it's clean. We can put this back on, and there's no rodents or anything in here, so that's a good sign. So just kind of press that back on, and then torque these wing nuts back in. All right. And then next we're going to take out a spark plug and make sure it is looking good. He didn't want the spark plugs changed, but we're going to inspect them both. So they're a 5/8 socket, and we'll get that going next. Okay, so next we're going to remove this boot and then the spark plug. I'm looking at this spark plug. The gap looks good. I don't know if you see that. So the gap looks good. The spark plug actually looks decent for what it is. Again, the owner wants me to keep this spark plug in. I was just checking to make sure it's not full of oil and things like that to indicate we have a problem and it's not worn. So we'll put this back in, and you just want these kind of snug to about what feels like 10 foot-pounds. So first do it by hand. Get it in there. Okay, and then you could snug it up by hand, and then we'll get the one on the back side and check that. Okay, to get to that rear socket, you can't use the extension. And there's that rear socket, the rear spark plug. It looks good. There's no oil on it. So now that we have the battery tester hooked up, it just goes positive to positive and negative to negative. We hit the OK button. We go up to 600. 65 is what we're looking for because that's the rated cold cranking amps. And let it test and then see if we have a good battery or not. So it's saying it's 100% charged. It's putting out 12.89 volts at 3.95 mega ohms or milliohms. And so the battery is good to go. We don't need to worry about that being able to start the engine in any type of temperature. So now we can disconnect the battery and then put these covers back on. Okay, we got the covers back on. We checked that the battery was good. Now before we go to start this engine up, we're going to check all around for any rodents getting into things like the cooling area here from the other side. Make sure that's clear because that helps to pull cooling air into the generator. Make sure there's nothing in the intake duct, and then we'll go from there. So to do that, we'll just go to the other side and just take a look to make sure there's nothing in the way. So you can see there's a lot of leaves. So that's what we have to check next. Okay, I went in there and got my hands in there, felt that there's nothing blocking the air passages, so we're all good. Okay, now it's time to restart it to make sure everything is good. So we put this back on the on position. We lift up the cover, put the panel into manual for start. I'm going to take my tools off of the unit here and then cranking. So we have a successful start, and then we'll let this engine run for about 5-10 minutes before we do an oil change. Okay, now we're done with this, so we'll put it in the off position, let it turn off. After it turns off, always remember to put it in the auto position so that it will automatically turn on if there's any issues. So now we'll put the cover on. Again, we will make sure that these hooks here go on here, and then these little nubs go into these oval slots. So put the nubs in the oval slots. There we go. And then as you get closer, just lift it so that they hook and then down. And that's for that. And then you close it up. Make sure it's in the auto. And then you could lock the key. And again, we had it on so that it would give power to the house. So that is the annual inspection that you should do. But now I'm going to go into doing an oil change, and that's going to be the next video. So guys, thanks for joining us. Give us a thumbs up if you learned anything on how to ensure that your Generac generator is ready for the elements and good to go. All right, God bless. And again, please give us a thumbs up.